We're delighted to have with us Hiba Noor, who is a prolific children's author known for her diverse body of work, which includes the acclaimed picture book The Little Warcat, the non-fiction title Inspiring Inventors, and her debut novel Sophia's War, which was shortlisted for the Carnegie Medal. Her works are recognised nationally and translated into over 10 languages, and they reflect her deep commitment to humanitarian and educational causes. With an academic background in engineering, physics, and a recent MA from SOAS in Muslim minorities in global contexts, she also has experience as a journalist, refugee advocate, and has assisted the United Nations IOM. Her literature often explores themes of resilience and understanding across different cultures. Hiba, we are so delighted to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for being with us. Now, Hiba, how do you perceive the role of cultural and religious diversity in strengthening societal bonds in your field of expertise?
So I think literature in general is hugely potent and powerful in its capacity to connect and to break down barriers between us. And I mean, when I'm doing school visits, I always tell the children that one of the most powerful things with literature, with fiction particularly, but also with non-fiction, is the ability that it gives us to come gaze to gaze, heart to heart with a person that you may never get to meet. Somebody, and it might be because they lived 100 years ago, it might be because they live in a village across the other side of the world. It might be that they live in the same city as you, but your paths would never cross. And the sort of capacity to build empathy that books, stories and characters contain within them, I think is unrivaled. And so I suppose in a sense the limit to that connective power and potential is the degree with which we have those, you know, the range of humans or the range of souls featured in the stories, and you know, there's this direct proportionality between them. So ensuring that there is cultural and you know, all sorts of diversity and representation within stories, within literature, on bookshelves in everywhere is vital to tapping into this incredible force.
And it really is about imagination, isn't it? And tapping into people, which is limitless, as you say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's incredible, like when I think the scientists have done brain scans on a person who's reading a novel about a certain topic compared to somebody who's reading a fact book about a topic. And the brain lights up in one place with the facts, and it's illuminated in 6 different areas with the fiction. And it's kind of, I mean, I like to think of, obviously I'm writing for children at the moment, and I like to think of, you know, we talk about GDPs and natural, like precious resources, and it's not gold, it's not oil, it's not precious jewels. Like the most precious thing that we have as a collective humanity is the hearts of children. And so I think when I kind of started to write for children, I was, you know, it's just been this amazing realization that something that's able to move the heart of a child, that's able to, you know, inspire the heart of a child and expand the heart of a child, especially in this realm of connectivity, is a very important thing.
It's that sense of wonder that you have as a child, and sometimes it gets lost as an adult, doesn't it? And you keep reclaiming, going back to that natural fitra.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like, I always feel like, obviously you go through school and you learn so much stuff, you know, there's so many things you learn, but some of the most important life lessons that I still carry with me today were from Narnia and Middle Earth. And yeah, it's like the stories that you read and the lessons that you learn, they kind of become a part of you, like you said. Yeah.
That's beautiful, beautifully said. Thank you so much. And in your experience, what are the most effective strategies in combating stereotypes and misinformation about Islam and Muslims?
Yeah, such an important question. I mean, the dissertation that I did recently was all about the dehumanization and the capitalizing on fear. And fear can only exist with othering. And again, you know, that just comes back to this connectivity. And I think, like I said, so that being able to gaze into the eyes of somebody else, being able to step into the shoes of someone else other than yourself and live life through them is, you know, a vital thing. And with literature and stories, I think in terms of breaking stereotypes, I guess my approach is that I've just written another novel that's shortly to be announced, but that with both of them, it's kind of been, I think my approach has been on humanizing through like sort of normalizing. So it's not, I don't think there's any need to kind of be preachy or didactic. It's really sort of just telling the stories that come. And as you said, the realm of imagination is this sort of almost mystical, do we really understand what it is? And sometimes, things come and you don't know where they're coming from. But just sort of taking those inspirations and what comes and using it to dispel stereotypes and these kind of perpetuations, but in a very natural, relatable way, so that I think it's really important not to patronize children as well. So I guess that's kind of my approach. Yeah.
So basically you're talking about like the power of empathy, when you can put yourself into somebody else's shoes, see the world from a different perspective, is actually so powerful in combating organically those stereotypes. So it's not even external, it actually is something about...
Yes, yeah, and it will then become an impossibility to harbour the same prejudices and hatreds and fears that perhaps that reader's child, the reader's parent may have had. But once you meet somebody of a marginalised group, no matter how many headlines you're reading every morning, that connection, that heart-to-heart, that soul-to-soul bond, which is incredibly sacred, will always triumph. And we can't always come, meet everybody. We can't always do that, and especially in the sort of intensity, in the intense way that you get to connect with another soul. So, and I mean, fiction's been shown just through research as well to be this kind of like a safe space for children to, and adults really as well, to experience the world and experience, issues and occurrences and trials and all sorts of things. And the brain actually sort of believes it's going through that. So it's almost like a training tool, but you're in a safe space. So I think it's the potential and the power of it and the significance of it is kind of underestimated in our communities a lot.
What initiatives or projects have you been involved in that align with the aims of the Islam and Muslims initiative to foster intercultural understanding and cooperation?
So I think it's an incredible initiative, and I think maybe sort of unintentionally, subconsciously, there's kind of quite a lot of the ethos that's been infused into all of my writing. But I guess perhaps most sort of obviously or most explicitly is the novel Sophia's War. So that tells the real life history of the Muslims in the Grand Paris Mosque who saved the lives of hundreds, maybe thousands of Jews in World War II. And this is just this incredible shining moment from the past that's been forgotten and erased. And I think, I just deeply felt that their stories need to be told, that these heroes, their names need to be known. And it's, it kind of, I guess it shines a light as well on the fact that they had this profound awareness within them that the most sacred and the most precious thing in existence is life. And they put everything on the line to honour that. And I think just, without me coming in and doing anything creative, without me coming in and doing anything, that moment from history sort of encompasses everything, and what Islam is all about and what Muslims are all about. And it's like we're kind of fighting against this tidal wave of hatred and negativity constantly and needing to prove ourselves. And I think that their story and what they did, and it now being pressed into the hands of readers, which, I'm really grateful for the reception that it's had, and that's all by the grace of God. But the conversations that are coming out of it in schools and book clubs and now all over the world are sort of beyond what I could have imagined. But I think that book for me sort of does embody a lot of what we are all about. And then, naturally, Sophia herself is very sort of feisty and fiery and curious and caring and, someone that I think when I was younger I would have aspired to be like. And I guess there's sort of glass ceilings and stereotypes that are broken in there as well. Yeah.
But Hiba, given your extensive work with children's literature and your focus on global contexts, how do you see your storytelling contributing to the Islam and Muslims initiative in educating young readers about the diversity and the richness of Muslim experiences worldwide?
So I guess my intention, my hope is to be able to tell some of these stories, and even with my non-fiction books, there's sort of a big focus was on decolonizing the narrative and featuring people from indigenous groups and Muslims and Islam and the richness of the world, as you say. So I guess I hope that I am telling, and I hope to continue telling these stories and sharing them and just building these connections that I pray are sort of lasting ones that will last all the way into adulthood, on a conscious and subconscious level. I would love to be able to empower Muslims, young Muslims, to know that their stories mean something, to know that they mean something, to know that they're they have this worth, that even if it's not reflected, hasn't been reflected very much until quite recently, that together we can change that, that their voices matter. They have voices, they will have stories to tell, and those are just as important as everybody else's.
Your work is vital in kind of elevating those stories and elevating them and helping them to build their own lives and their futures. Like when I was young, I didn't see anything of myself. So I felt very and that you carry that trauma with you. But if children are given the confidence from a young age, what does that mean for storytelling in the future?
The potential will be endless, inshallah. I think, so kind of, bringing them into the mainstream, I think is something that is very important, because it's kind of is validating. They're growing up in this world. So, yeah, inshallah, I guess it's all about visibility, allowing them to kind of meet themselves in stories, ultimately it's about inspiring. And I still find that when I'm reading and writing, that stories, I kind of think of stories like medicine a lot of the time, where and I think humans need them, from ancient times. It's like they're part of us, we can't be without them. They're so intrinsic to our faith, but as well as our just basic essence as humans, and they can heal us and restore us and inspire and teach us all sorts of things. So yeah,
that's absolutely perfect and true, and alhamdulillah, you're doing incredible work, and you're inspiring the next generation as well, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.